and you can have time to yourself to actually go focus on things that matter, to spend time on yourself, to identify as a winner, it has massive, massive ripple effects into your whole life.
The truth is, the way you start your mornings determine your momentum, your day, and even your life. Hi, my name is Arjun. I'm the CEO of Doula, a venture-backed fintech startup here in New York City. To check out more about my company, head to doula.com. I started a series called the 15-Minute Founder, where I sit down with entrepreneurs and CEOs to get a glimpse behind the scenes in terms of how they achieved their success. I sat down with creator and entrepreneur Sahil Bloom, and he shared with me this one habit, this one morning routine that can truly create ripple effects in your entire life, in terms of increasing your productivity, your focus, and even ultimately your happiness. Without further ado, let's dive in. What's something that you strongly believe in that the majority of people would actually disagree with you on? It could be on human nature, or maybe it's something you've realized and you've gone through throughout your personal journey. Now that people sort of see where you are and see the journey you've taken, something that they just don't get about actually the process that you've taken to get here.
I really, really believe that if anyone comes to me and says, hey, I'm not happy with where I am in my life and I want to, make positive changes, the first thing I would tell them to do is wake up at 5 a.m. and go and work out for an hour. And if you can do that for a week, I seriously think you will start to change your life. And the reason I say that is just because there's no losers that wake up at 5 a.m. and work out. You just can't do it. Like you can stay up late and work out at night, like do all sorts of things, but really like no one does unproductive things early in the morning because it's just so much easier to stay in bed. You would just sleep. No one gets up at 5 a.m. and watches Netflix. You don't do it because you'd rather sleep, and so you stay asleep. So if you can be the type of person that gets up and goes and works out, you start to identify as a winner very, very quickly. I really think it would take a week. Like if you're not happy with where you are in life and you do that for a week, I really think after a week you would start to be like, oh, holy shit. You would start to rewire your brain as someone who is a winner and that does what they say they're going to do. And that has ripple effects that extend to everywhere else in your life. You start eating better because you're working out. You start sleeping better because you're tired. You start focusing better because you're sleeping better at night. The endorphins are hitting you. You're starting to feel happier about yourself. You start to feel confident in yourself because you're doing that. For me, that really would be the most powerful thing I would say. Like if anyone came to me and asked me for advice, that would be the first thing I would say.
100% agree. I often think about that too in terms of sharpening your body to sharpen your mind. And it doesn't quite literally mean, getting shredded or quite literally sharpening your body.
And I don't you could go walk for 30 minutes. Like I don't think you need to be going and doing like a Barry's boot camp hit workout, like fancy shit, fancy equipment, deadlifting 400 pounds, like go outside for 30 minutes and go for a walk or just do something. But like you get out of bed, you did the thing you said you were going to do, and then go do whatever you want after that. I'm pretty sure you're going to make good decisions after you do that in the morning.
What I'd love to ask you is, what is your morning routine? And how does environment, if at all, shape into the routine you have in the morning so that you can maintain the discipline there? Or, hey, are you just hyper motivated and, willpower is a muscle that you've built and that's how you're able to sustain it?
My morning routine is pretty simple. I wake up at 4:30. I get in the cold plunge for 3 to 5 minutes. I go downstairs and have my little morning cocktail, athletic greens and Element salt electrolytes. I go get a coffee, Dunkin' Donuts, and then I go to my desk. And I'm basically at my desk working on the antelope, hunting the antelope, whatever it is. Usually it's some writing project, something that I need to work on, newsletters, book, etc., from 5 to 7:30. And I just have like a very focused, quiet block of work time for that first 2.5 hours of the day. It's before my son wakes up, before my wife's up. I can really focus. There's no emails coming in. I'm not looking at email. Like I'm really locked in on that one thing. And that sets the tone for my entire day. To like get up, got the energy boost from getting in the cold plunge, did the hard thing to start the day, and then hit the ground running. On your question on environment, environment's everything. And environment is not just the physical space around you, it's the people, it's the digital environment around you. Like if you change your environment, you change your life. If you're in a bad spot in life, you have to go and evaluate what environment are you living in? Who are the people that you're allowing to surround your world, the ideas that are, being pushed into you by the content you're consuming. All of that is part of your environment. And if you change that, you can completely change where you are and your whole perspectives and the things that you're operating around. If you get around friends who are consistently talking about parties that they went to in the past, binge drinking nights, talking shit about a bunch of stuff from the past. And all of a sudden you flip from being there to being with a group of friends who's talking about building businesses in the future, who are talking about investing in their health, mental and physical, or we're talking about deep, meaningful relationships with people they care about. Where do you think you're better off? Where do you think you're going to be in a better spot for the life that you want to live and build? That might be fun, the former, for like a couple of years when you're young, early in your life, college days, whatever. But where do you want to live? Where do you want to live your life? And so for people that want to change, you got to change your whole environment. Get into a place where you can make good decisions easily. That's the whole thing. It's like James Clear talks about it in Atomic Habits. Remove the friction from these decisions. If you want to get up early, put your phone in your bathroom so that when the alarm goes off, you have to get up out of bed to go turn it off, because then you're not going to get back into bed once you're up and you're walking around on the floor. You might if it's right next to you and you can just press the snooze by reaching over. That's actually much easier. If you want to eat healthy, what's in your fridge when you open it up? Does it look like healthy foods? So that is a really big one for most people, is just make your environment match your goals and what you're actually trying to go out and achieve.
But I'm going to also guess that you're not perfect like anyone else. So even just taking the routine you described, how do you personally get out of a rut? Like, let's say you've skipped a few days in a row, or you're feeling just down, like you've missed the morning workouts. And I agree with you, whatever that keystone habit is, whether it's exercise, whether it's the meditation, whether it's quality family time, if you miss that, technically things can spiral. How do you get out of those ruts when they happen?
I fall in ruts all the time. Warren Buffett has this quote: the first thing to do when you find yourself at the bottom of a hole is stop digging. And stop digging usually means rest. And it usually means you need to figure out what is the rest that I actually need right now, and to find it in a meaningful way. There's this whole idea that there are different types of rest. There's like spiritual rest, there's physical rest, there's all these different types, 7 types of rest, I think, is the framework for it. And you need to figure out what that rest is that you need and actually go and make sure that you are getting it. Because if you don't, what ends up happening is that you blow up, and then you have like a month where you're just completely cratered and you're not able to get any of the things done that you need. The whole point is that we need to stay in the game. When you talk about stacking days, it's like all of this positive compounding stuff that we're talking about is all about anything above 0 compounds positively. And the whole goal with compounding is that you never let it stop. You just continue to have it drive in a positive direction. When you fall out of the game because you weren't willing to rest a little bit, and then you're out for a month, that really stops the compounding from continuing. So if you can actually avoid that by getting the rest you need before it becomes this massive blow up, that's a meaningful advantage. You're allowing yourself to stay in the game over longer periods of time. Those are the people that ultimately will win, the people that can just stay in the game. Good days and bad days, just make sure you're staying in the game.
What traits do you think are the most important, or the overlap you see in top performers?
Yeah. People who understand the difference between motivation and discipline definitely have a tendency to succeed. Like when you think about people that just are able to ground themselves in discipline to do things that they don't necessarily want to do on a daily basis, those people tend to win over the long run. Because if you rely on motivation, there are going to be a whole hell of a lot of days where you just don't want to do the thing. I probably like 80% of days I don't want to I wake up at 4:30. Like I don't want to do that 80% of days. It's not like I wake up and I'm like all chipper and excited to get out of bed. Sometimes I have something that I'm really excited to work on, but for the most part, you have to ground yourself in something that's just like daily getting up, meat and potatoes, like punching the clock to go and do the thing. And that's what Chris Paul calls it, stacking days. And I think that's such a powerful way of thinking about it. It's like, I'm just going to stack days. And they're not all going to be sexy or pretty or whatever it is, but I'm just going to show up. And I know that on the other side of stacking a bunch of days is going to be a win. In some way, I'm going to have made progress at it. So if you can just stack days over and over and over again, good things happen.
Hope you guys enjoyed this conversation. I certainly enjoyed chatting with them, and you can find the full video on my channel. As you can tell, these typically go over 15 minutes. Now, we have more interviews just like this coming live soon, but I also want to share a behind-the-scenes look at my life starting and scaling Doula, a venture-backed fintech startup here in New York City. That includes how I run my life, the challenges the team faces, how we've raised venture capital, and more. So please like and subscribe to the channel for more content just like this. Hope to see you soon, and if you're looking to start and scale your business from anywhere in the world, check out doula.com. Thanks so much. See you next time.